Hey, welcome back. How's it going? Great to hear. So, if you missed it a couple of weeks ago, Josh and myself released the trailer for our TV show called Hell Patrol. And if you haven't checked it out yet, I'll leave a link for it down below. And we are incredibly stoked on the response that we have received over the last couple of weeks. Collectively, it's reached about 30,000 views, which is really mind-blowing when you think about it. We're really happy with the response that the trailer has gotten through all the likes and comments and shares from people all around the world. And last Sunday, Josh and myself jumped on Instagram Live to do a Q&A with a whole bunch of people, and it was a lot of fun. And today I thought I would sum up a whole bunch of those answers into a nice little bite-sized piece content for all of you to watch. Before we jump into it, I just want to say that we'll be going a lot more in depth with these answers through behind the scenes content that we'll be releasing pretty soon, so keep an eye out for that. So the first and main question that everyone's been asking us is, when can we see the pilot? And that's pretty uncertain at the moment. We're still working on it itself, but we're getting very close to finishing it, and the product is looking amazing. So we're just kind of having discussions on what's the best way to distribute to everyone and get it out there as soon as we can. So at the moment, we don't really know, but if you follow us on all of our socials, as soon as we know, we'll let you guys know. So moving on from that, I want to talk about the show itself and our approach when it came to the process and some of the motives behind our creative choices. I guess the overall approach that we had towards the creative decisions in the show is we wanted to do everything different of what you would expect of a show that's based in hell, that involves like Satan and a group of misfits. So we just came up with things that you would just not expect. Take Satan for example. When you see him in the trailer, he comes across as this joyful, happy larrikin kind of guy, and we wanted to do that. So when people watch it, they're like, oh, Satan's not this evil leader kind of guy. He's just this happy larrikin, normal Aussie bloke. So instead of instilling fear onto the audience through his character, we wanted to do the opposite. We wanted this character so when it comes on the screen, everyone's like, oh yay, it's Satan, happy Satan. I just pictured a room full of people just going, yay, Satan, and it just, oh fuck, man, we made a really messed up show. And instead of Satan being on this giant throne in this cave full of like demons and stuff surrounding him, we decided that the heart of hell would be a nightclub, which was a major creative choice that we had approaching this show because we thought to ourselves, man, people in hell aren't being tortured and they're not having the worst time ever. If you are a terrible person and you enjoy terrible things in life, hell is the place for you. So instead of punishing these people for the terrible things that they've done, they should be celebrated for them. And that's why we created this alternate dimension world of Earth, but everything is just kind of mildly inconvenient. So when people get to hell, they think to themselves, oh, it was just like Earth. And slowly as time goes on, they realize that things in their life aren't as easy as they thought they would be back on Earth. So bringing it back to the nightclub that Satan runs, it's the heart of hell, and we find out that it's going to shit. So he decides to hire a bunch of misfits called the Hell Patrol to restore faith and party back to the nightclub. But as you could imagine, hiring people in hell to do a job for you, it's probably not the best thing to do in the world. And that idea for the Hell Patrol itself is an idea that stemmed off from Josh years ago, and that's what he originally approached me with. He told me, hey, I listened to a song called Hell Patrol by Judas Priest, and I've been wondering for years, what would that consist of? And that has basically been the main spark behind the show that has kind of kicked up this whole idea into where it's at now. Quickly moving on to the music side of things, music has a massive influence in this show. We love Tenacious D, for example, and thought to ourselves, hey, why don't we implement the same kind of concepts in Tenacious D where the songs are kind of narrating what's happening and over-explaining and it's adding to the comedy behind it. So we have original music written for the show for certain scenes and montages, and yeah, we absolutely love the way that it turned out. Another question that we got asked was, why did it take you a year to write your pilot? Well, it was a really complicated process. We had to build a world of its own, and we had to approach it with that different mindset of how can we make this different to what people expect when they think of hell. and Satan. And then we had to go through the characters, make backstories for those characters that match their motives in their dialogue. And as you can tell just by me spitting a few examples, there's a lot of shit there to work through. Table reads was another reason why it took so long to get a finalized pilot script, is because when the actors got in their hands and they put in their own creative process behind the characters themselves, we thought to ourselves, we should probably change this bit here and there so it just flows more seamlessly. And I'm really glad that we took our time throughout that process and figure out all of the cogs in the machine, because it has set us up for the rest of the season. Take for example episode 2, we wrote the first whole version in a single day, which was the perfect payoff for all of the hard work that we have been putting in over the past year. Now in terms of production, firstly, this was Josh's first ever time on set, so he had to learn very quickly how chaotic and hectic things really do get on set. And even for me myself, this is by far the biggest production that I have done. Our main core cast and crew is about 30 odd people, and then on the second day of shooting we had about 30 or so extras involved as well. So there was a lot of moving parts, and I was thrown in the deep end myself. And the main thing that I learned throughout the production process is that you always need more time. I think I've mentioned it in a previous video, but time is something that I wish we had more of, and it's great that we just did the pilot on its own before we shot the rest of the season. So now going into the rest of the season, we can say to ourselves, cool, all right, we think this episode is going to take 4 days to shoot. Let's do 5 just in case. That way we can take our time and our actors and crew aren't as exhausted and stressed out, and then towards the end of it, we can have a finalized product that is just mwah, chef's kiss, amazing. I also just want to add, with production, we went in with the same creative mindset. Most sitcoms that you see are brightly lit and it's even and flat, and there's not much dimension behind it. So we thought to ourselves that we wanted to create something more cinematic, and that's why there's a lot of like neon lighting in the show, and that kind of helps push the motives behind the world itself and how we wanted to kind of make its own separate thing that you would not expect when you think of Hell. In saying all of that, the main positive thing that came from the production side of things is how well everyone got along with each other. When you have a cast and crew of that size, you think to yourself, oh shit, is everyone going to get along? Is it people going to be butting heads? Are we going to be delayed because of certain things and people not working with each other before? But everyone had the best time, and we could not be stoked on the outcome of that. Everyone just getting along with each other and wanting to work their asses off to get the best outcome possible for our pilot. And something that I want to bring up, which was discussed in the Q&A, and it's something that to kind of end on like a positive note, is how stoked I am of being in the film industry. And this is something that Joshua was bringing up as well in the Q&A. He was saying how well everyone was just wanting to work together for the final product. And me, myself, for many years, I have been like a one-man band. I have been shooting and editing most of my projects, or either just shooting or just editing. And this is the first time that I have been thrown in a deep end as a writer-director, and everyone on set was really supportive of that and were doing everything that they can to help me and Josh come out with the best product possible. And even outside of our cast and crew, just the film industry in general, all the colleagues and friends that I've worked with in the past were saying how cool it was that I was diving in the deep end as a director and wanting to shift myself from what I was doing to now trying to do this as my full-time job. I want to end this video by saying, if you're a filmmaker out there who wants to be in a very similar position to Josh and myself, I would suggest just start coming up with ideas. You know, this whole crazy process stemmed off one idea that Josh had over a year ago and approached me, and now we have a finalized pilot and a whole season ready to go, and it's mind-blowing to think on how far it has come off just one simple idea. So just start coming up with ideas on your own, you know, just start writing things down, bring friends on board like Josh and myself have done, and who knows, maybe one day you'll be in a very similar position to us and we'll all have really cool pilots and shows and movies that we can show the whole world. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching the pilot and sharing it around, and thanks for watching this video. Hope you have a good one. I'll see you guys next time. See ya!